Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and this review is for the movie called Nancy Drew in the Hidden Staircase. It is a 2019 film. It's rated PG. It runs about an hour and a half, and it stars a bunch of nice women and men. Has a pretty big cast, and it is the story about Nancy Drew, the old time books. If you have never read any of them, they were very much classics. Uh, when people from age 50 to 70 or so were kids. And so this was a really nice movie. I don't know of any other Nancy Drew movies that have been made. And this was a real surprise when movies came out this weekend and there wasn't much good. It was a ton better than the movie I saw yesterday called Captive State. It was much more fun. And it's just the kind of movies that need to be made. You know, this is light, it's funny, it's for anybody. And so I do suggest watching it for sure. It was a surprise to come out this weekend, and older people and women that are younger maybe can take this movie as kind of a statement for women pride, and read the old books and watch this movie and just kind of enjoy things. There is a rumor that there might be a Nancy Drew TV show also. So there was one familiar character in this movie who is the older lady. I think her name is Flora, and she's the one who kind of has this mystery to solve. And the rest of the cast was pretty good. A lot of unfamiliars, but again, they're in a kind of a different movie. So I would give the rest of the cast. Most of them did really well. I'd have to give them props. They had a lot of nice lines that were delivered okay, and a lot of kind of silly lines that just felt rehearsed and kind of maybe uncomfortably. Like, oh my gosh, I have to say something at this point. So there was a kind of a maybe 80-20 kind of ratio for really good script, really good conversation, and then about 20% of, oh, maybe, that felt a little awkward, kind of a thing to say at this time. So with the girls, I mean, they're younger, they're maybe not professional actors at this point, and a lot of their facial expressions, a lot of their suggestive body movements just were kind of off par, and they were probably the worst part of this movie, just with the way that they were a little unprofessional. All the adults kind of knew what they had to do, and they pulled it off pretty well, and the way they said things seemed pretty convincing. But the younger people just kind of felt like maybe they were just struggling to keep up, with how to say this and how to say that and how to make, that convincing. And the fun parts of this movie kind of let you forget about all that. And that's the best kind of movie, is something you can just enjoy and you don't really have to be thinking about all that. But now that I'm, here, I'm talking about it, a lot of the movie did kind of seem maybe a little uncomfortable at times. So it's not a real big flaw or anything. This movie does lean on a lot of humor, and I always enjoy movies like that. It's something to behold, as a nice family movie that can make you laugh and can keep you interested the whole time. And, with the low rating, there's not going to be bad language or anything like that. So, yeah, I can totally suggest that it's a clean movie and everything. And I just enjoyed it the whole time. The humor was good. There was a lot of little things that made you laugh. There was some bigger moments that just were obvious and you have to laugh. But it was very consistent throughout the film. There wasn't really any kind of lulls in the comedy. It was just very much a lot of things that just make you smile. The serious parts of this movie are the mystery, the kind of more serious moments that come up, like a prank being maybe jail time or some kind of crime. And if younger people actually do go to this movie or see it, they might get a little confused on that because we have so many Disney movies and other kids' movies where people pummel each other or do pranks and there's no retribution whatsoever. So this one keeps it very real, in a real life situation. And Nancy Drew has to do some, community cleanup, and she does get put in handcuffs. And so it's a very real movie, and I don't know if it had to be that way, but it kind of helps that it does keep itself real that way. So just maybe not everybody will really care about every single serious moment. But the mystery is what Nancy Drew is all about. If you've never heard that name, and if you never read a book and you never heard of Nancy Drew whatsoever, she's a mystery solver. And the way they go about having the mystery come up in this movie could use some explaining. It could use some little bit more fluidity rather than just kind of jumping into it and not having any explanation whatsoever. But that's kind of being really technical, so I'm just going to kind of move on from that. It wasn't a big deal for me. I'm just saying some people might notice it. And then the mystery itself is kind of handled in a different way. There's these three people that experience the mystery, and it's almost like a Scooby-Doo kind of situation. Like it happens, and then they're immediately trying to figure it out. And there's no prolonged, experience. It's just kind of one time only kind of thing, and then we're off to solving it. And I don't know, maybe it felt a little rushed, just a little bit. But then the rest of the movie kind of prolongs it a little bit into more of a real life situation mystery rather than just a Nancy Drew kind of feeling of a mystery. And it's a good ending, being a little bit of sound mind and critical of things. I was kind of wondering why they weren't finding out the solution after a couple of silly lines and silly conversations. It's like, why can you not figure this out? It's really the only bad guy that you presented us with in this whole movie. It's kind of a Pleasantville, kind of a town, and there's really just one bad egg. It's like, why are we not going to ask him if he did it? And it ends up being him. And so there's another twist, and I won't tell you what that is, but that's the real big surprise. And so I think they handled it fine, and I think that it could have used a little bit more of an explanation, and they could have really driven home the point at the end, made it a little bit more emotional. It seems personal, but it doesn't feel like they're making a big, huge case of it. And I think they could, splurge it out a little bit. So, all in all, Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase. I think it's a really good movie. I like movies like this. I think they need to make more like this. And I did enjoy my whole self the whole time. And I laughed. And I did not cry. But I thought it was a good mystery. But not the best one I've ever seen. And I think that it has a good twist at the end. So I appreciate it for the most part. I am going to give Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase a B+. I can't just quite give it an A, but it's just something I don't think I'd want to see more than maybe twice in my life. It's just kind of a nice movie, but I just don't think I'd want to see it maybe more than twice. So, B+ for the movie, Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase. And my name's Danny. Thanks a lot, guys. If you like this or any of my other reviews, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And enjoy your movies. Thank you.